Hello, everyone, and welcome back yet again to the Eljay Johnsen Show. This show airs every single Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise over on Twitter, at the Eljay Johnsen. If you have any questions over the week, or any questions during the live airing of this episode, head on over not only to Twitter, using the hashtag The Eljay Johnsen Show, but also to email ljjohnson@gmail.com. Remember, that's Johnson spelled Johnssen. Sometimes people spell it traditionally, which I totally understand. And things just get lost. However, in the meantime, let's go ahead and waste no more time. Very excited for today's episode because I have a returning guest. You may know him as the head or one of the primary administrators on the Bionicle fan website BZPower. He also has an incredibly great last name because I just realized it literally has "how" in it. I'm talking, of course, about Black 6, otherwise known as Andrew Bulthaupt. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me back.
Well, thanks for being here. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we got Brickfair coming up, and it's going to be a blast.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. There are so many good things that are going to be happening this year. And,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a banner year, I think, for fans of Construction, especially if you're one of those people who likes Galador, whether you really like it or you like it ironically. It's going to be a great for those fans and lots of other stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. We'll go ahead and touch upon that in just a moment. But first, just in case anyone hadn't seen the last episode you were on, because it's been a while. Like, when I last had you on, it was in November.
Yeah, I think you had me on like one of the first few episodes.
Yeah,
So,
episode 4. But just in case, go ahead and reintroduce yourself. Tell everyone what you do, what you're known for, how you got into Bionicle, Lego, and BZPower.
yeah, sure. So I'm Andrew, go by Black 6 Online, and currently the guy who runs BZPower. We were at one point in time the largest Bionicle fan site. I don't know that we have that distinguishing mark anymore, but the community has spread out far and wide. So there's lots of different places you can talk about Bionicle these days, which is awesome. I think over the years, as kind of things have changed, we've taken a lot of focus on bringing people's creations out into the real world, to conventions and stuff, which has been a lot of fun. And so I spend a lot of my time when I'm not online planning to go for all these different LEGO conventions and shows around North America and trying to get to as many as I can. It's a lot of fun. So as far as my Bionicle backstory, I was one of those people who got into Bionicle way back in the day when it was on the back cover of the Lego magazine. You could buy Tahu and Vakama, it was like an early pre-release thing. So I'd already been into Throwbots, and these seemed like an even cooler version of those, and bought the first 2-pack and was hooked ever since.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, this goes kind of without saying. You've definitely been in the community and more involved, and even in the franchise, a lot longer than I have.
A lot longer than pretty much anyone these days, so
Yeah.
don't feel too bad.
Yeah, no, that is true. And this kind of leads into something I want to talk about. BZPower is this month. I want to say the 20th, tentatively.
Yeah, you got it right.
Awesome. July 20th, BZPower turns 17 years old. That is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really crazy to think about sometimes. I remember when we were hitting like our 10-year anniversary, and that seemed like forever. And now here we are, 7 more years later. It's awesome that we're still going. Definitely maybe not as strong as we were 10 years ago, back in Bionicle's heyday, but there's still a very dedicated community out there for Bionicle, and we like to still talk about things on BZPower. And I think a lot of the stuff we do, with still having news posts every day and still running contests and doing this stuff at conventions and our streams and everything, help keep that core group engaged. And I'm you know, definitely excited to see everyone, and looking forward to meeting new people and hanging out with old friends at Brickfair.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Real quick on the point you made about BZPower being the largest Bionicle fan website, I think that you can definitely make a strong argument for it still being the largest fan website for Bionicle, given that your total member base, the amount of accounts that are registered to the website, is still 52,000, like 52,005. And
Yeah, and it's a lot. I mean, obviously not all those accounts are active these days,
oh
but
yeah,
there've been a lot of people who have, come visited us over the years and hung out for a while. Lots of good friends and good memories.
oh yeah, and that's actually we have an email question which we'll get to a little bit later on that actually touches upon some good old times, favorite memories, and heck, I have plenty. Like, I don't say it often enough, but BZPower was easily my home within inside home, given that I was heavily active in the comics forum constantly, and it was always a blast. BZPower, it's understated how much of not only a culture it had unto itself, but all the different kind of subcultures that it had in every single one of the subforums. It's a uniqueness that I have yet to refine.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting how a lot of that kind of stuff developed and how people still remember it to this day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And heck, you guys still do, like, you guys still do a lot. Obviously enough, as you mentioned, daily articles, if not daily, then as often as news is around. But you also do giveaways, I believe, at the beginning of every month for new members.
Yeah, it's for everyone. We've kind of opened it up, and yeah, we do monthly raffles and stuff, giving away things. We're very fortunate that Lego has donated a lot of different sets to us over the years, so we've got a stockpile that we're always looking for ways to share it with the community.
Fair enough. That's understandable. I figure I'll ask an early question here, and so are we ever gonna get Hot Topics back? No.
Oh, that is not something that anyone has asked about in a long time. No. I'm gonna safely say no. We're not planning on bringing those back anytime soon.
Fair enough.
Probably just because it would be disappointing to see how few there are.
Ah, dang, that hurts. It's understandable, but rest in pieces, Hot Topics. I knew thee well. I made it there a couple of times. It was a good day. All right.
Yeah, it was always cool for people trying to get onto that list, and it was like a little competition that you'd see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was always... I forget, were comics ever allowed on the Hot Topics?
There were definitely certain forums that were excluded, so I forget if comics was one of those, but it might have been excluded. Yeah, I think we kind of focused on like the discussion forums a little more for those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember, like, I had a topic completely off topic about dreams, I think. Or was it haunted houses? I don't remember. And that got there. And then there was one in storyline theories that got there, but I don't remember any comics. That, to be fair, that was a really good call. Comic makers were brutally competitive. It would have been awful, but still.
You'd stockpile up all your comics and then just post them one after another and try to get on there. And then
are you kidding
we'd yell
me?
at you for double posting.
Yeah, I was about to say we would be toast. I know that the TTV message boards, we instill the no double posting rule as well, which I wouldn't say necessarily is not because we were influenced by you guys, but I want to know I know we have a reasoning behind it. I've always been curious. What was the reasoning behind the double posting rule on BZPower initially?
It was just a way to kind of keep people from spamming, and you would always come across people who would be like, "Hey, why haven't you replied to my topic? It's been 10 minutes," kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of just give it some time, and we've definitely relaxed that policy in some areas, because there are some sections where it does make sense to follow up on something, like with stories and comics and stuff. Those are obviously two big candidates. If you have a new issue and no one's made a comment on it, between that, there's no reason to keep you from posting that. But
Mm-hmm.
back in the day when the forums were a lot more active, it was just kind of trying to keep people from just kind of spamming up their post count kind of thing.
That makes sense. Yeah, no,
And,
that's
and there would be people who, if we didn't have that rule, they'd go into completely off topic into like word association and play word association with themselves.
oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, in retrospect. And I can definitely relate to the spam part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, perfectly reasonable to me. Well, I understand that, and definitely having that perspective, it's different being a user on a message board or forum as opposed to moderating it. Things from a user perspective don't seem to make sense, but as you kind of continue moving forward, being a part of the website, growing up, even becoming moderators on other platforms, it starts to make a lot more sense. You go, oh yeah, that was actually a really smart smart rule.
Yeah, no, I've talked to a few guys over at TTV who've said the same thing. It's like, man, I hated all those rules when I was a BZPower member, but now I totally understand it.
Yeah, no, I mean, double posting makes a lot of sense, and oh gosh, there are a lot of rules to remember. Off the top of my head, double posting is immediately the one that comes to mind. But I've got to ask, what are some of your favorite aspects of BZPower's kind of subculture that it cultivated over the years? I guess they'd be called memes now. They'd be called running
Yeah, I was
jokes
just gonna
later.
say, like, there were memes before we had memes,
Yeah.
right? I mean, 17 years ago, no one knew what a meme was, but there have been just so many different little things like, the name changing fads and stuff like that were always a lot of fun, where people would just kind of pick a theme, and all of a sudden, like, you'd wake up one morning and look at the forums, and everyone would have something going on with like matching avatars and stuff like that. Those were always really interesting, and there's a lot of stuff over the years that the members have just kind of created for themselves to help make the site their own.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, and heck, even the ones I remember, I can never pronounce it, obviously, but it's like the secret stomach message. Yeah, that was always a really
Crackle
funny one.
Basada feed me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That one always stuck
Yeah,
out.
things
To me.
that like when they happen at the time, you never think that they're gonna last, a month, let alone years. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just like silly little things that members come up with.
yeah. No, it's always, in retrospect, it's amazing to me because again, I have not found another even website just generally that has as strong as a culture and as many memes, I guess they'd be now, as BZPower. Like even the filter was so incredibly unique and a long running joke.
Yeah, yeah. Bionicle Rex was the one responsible for a lot of those things back in the day. He had quite the sense of humor.
Yeah, we're all and cool dudes here. No.
Right, yeah, we joked around for years about making T-shirts for that.
Okay, I would probably wear one of those. That sounds great. No one would understand if they weren't on BZPower.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, let's go ahead and move kind of into Brickfair. Obviously enough, Brickfair Virginia 2018 is coming up. It's going to be the first weekend in August, unless you're an exhibitor. In that case, it's August 1st to the 5th, but the public days are just the Saturday and Sunday. It's an annual event that takes place in Chantilly, Virginia, at the Dulles Expo Center. It's a blast. Even when things may not have been at their top, Brickfair, the convention itself, is always a good time if you're a fan of Lego. I cannot not recommend it. And I'm going to be there. You're going to be there. But you're there every year. Tell me a little bit about your involvement with Brickfair, how that started, how long it's been going, and basically that whole shebang. The whole enchilada.
Yeah, this is actually going to be It's funny because last year the theme for Brickfair was 10, because it was the 10th Brickfair Virginia. But if you want to like get into semantics, this year is going to be the 10th anniversary of the first Brickfair, because it was first held in 2008. So it's been going on for a long time now. Want to say I guess it's like the third longest running fan convention in the United States. Brick World Chicago was 2007, so it has a beat by a year. And then BrickCon out in Seattle was even longer than that. I want to say like 2002
Whoa.
or something like that was BrickCon. But we do have kind of the distinguishing trait that the DC area was kind of the home of Lego fan conventions. So Brickfair is kind of like the home turf for fan conventions, picking up where Brickfest left off back in the day. And so I was at the first Brickfair because of Brickfest had already been kind of a big gathering that some BZPower members had already been going to. And so I went to the last Brickfest in 2006 in DC, and once Brickfair kind of came up to take its place, a few of us who had already been going were like, all right, well, let's kind of adopt this new show and check it out. And Bionicle, as a result, has always kind of been a big part of the show. Just because kind of the show's longevity, that there weren't any other places for us to kind of congregate to meet, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were just kind of people who knew each other online, and so having a show was kind of like a nice de facto place to meet in person. It's kind of like a safe place, right? It's not like, hey, let's just kind of all meet in a city at a time and hope that none of you are gonna like kill us or something.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's a little dark, but it's like a kind of public event. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, and so we always just kind of started meeting there. And Todd, who runs Brickfair, kind of adopted that as a running theme, and we've always been very helpful. I think it helped that when we first kind of started, a lot of us were younger, so we were very willing to do kind of a lot of the setup and teardown when it came to like floor pads and stanchions and stuff. So Todd was like, all right, I'll take the free help kind of thing. For my involvement, the first couple of years of Brickfair, I never really interacted with Todd or the runners of the show that much. It wasn't until Brickfair Alabama started, and I want to say 2011 or 2012, somewhere around there. And I went to that because there were a couple BZPower members, there's one who's in the Alabama area and a couple others who were near enough that they were interested in taking the trip down there. And so I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I can get the time off from work, I can go down. And because that's a smaller show, it's usually maybe about, from an exhibitor perspective, maybe about 1/5 the size of Brickfair Virginia. So there's maybe 200 exhibitors compared to close to 1,000. So with that many fewer people, you kind of get to meet everyone. And so I met Todd a little more and kind of got involved in some of the more behind the scenes stuff, volunteering a lot more, being a theme leader, game host, helping out with the setup and teardown, and it's kind of just kept going from there. I have the distinction right now of being one of 3 people who've been to every single Brickfair event, so I'm hoping to keep that streak going.
Fair enough. My goodness. I know you're very, obviously, as you just said, very heavily involved with the setup of the convention. Like, the 2 times that I've been there, just walking around, I will see you flying all over the place, either hosting a game or even in 2016, BZPower kind of set up the build at the entrance where people could kind of watch people build the large Ghostbusters firehouse and all sorts of stuff. And I remember you just coming over the Bionicle section. Hey, your turn next for building. Come along. And so I know, obviously, enough you're very, very busy. Do you ever get time to just kind of mosey around, enjoy the sights, the scenes, the smells? Well, hopefully just the sights and scenes.
Yeah, hopefully not too many smells. Yeah, usually in the evenings, things will calm down a bit. And from the Brick Fair like official perspective, I usually do the least amount of work these days at Virginia compared to the other shows because of all the other stuff BZPower and the Bionicle community does, and I want to make sure I can spend as much time as possible with all the members there.
Hmm.
Um, but I think I'm hosting two games, and then I'm running the ring toss booth during public hours.
Hmm.
So that's it'll definitely keep me busy. But should still be a fun time. Haven't announced a lot of stuff that BZ Power is doing, but we have stuff we're planning. Of course, we've got our traditional fancy dinner that we do. That'll definitely be coming back. We have to announce the when and the where on that. So keep your eyes peeled on BZ Power for that. The past couple years, we've done some drafts and some games. Hope to bring back some of those. So we're looking to do that, and hopefully a lot of people will enjoy that. I wanted to get like a Bionicle game officially on the schedule, but was not coordinated enough to kind of get it. I talked to Todd about it, and then like just other stuff comes up, and that is the problem with going to a lot of conventions, is that your time between conventions, like you want to focus on the next show, and there are some things that need like several months of planning. That I need to work on that a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Like, for instance, I'm sure, I don't know if you've ever been, I haven't, but I know Bricks by the Bay usually takes place in the vicinity of Brickfair. I don't think that it's occurring.
It's going on right now, actually.
Okay, yeah, no, I think Beyond the Brick had posted something about the keynote happening about a day or so ago. So it's nice that this year they're not intersecting like they did, I think, last year.
Yeah, and because of that overlap, Bricks by the Bay is one of the few shows in the U.S. that I haven't been to yet. One of these years, maybe.
Yeah, no, hopefully when it kind of backs up a little bit, or maybe goes a little forward, or maybe during a cooler month, who knows? But I can understand, because you're not only involved with Brickfair Virginia, but I believe you do Brickfair Alabama and BrickCon, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I haven't done BrickCon in a while. This year, I did Brickfair Alabama, did Philly Brickfest, Brick World Chicago was the first time I'd been out there, which was a lot of fun, and then Brickfair Virginia. I think those are the only shows that I have been to this year, plus some smaller ones like Scouting for Bricks. And then we did send some people down to Brick Universe Raleigh. They had a good time down there. So it's actually a bit of a quieter year than some have been.
Okay, fair enough. And I know that because you do travel to all these different conventions and events, at least as annually as possible, BZPower has a convention circuit in that you guys ask people to send mocks in, and you kind of take them around and have them shown at all these conventions and send them back to the mockist with a little bit of a reward in a sense, if that's correct.
Yeah, it's something we've done for a while. I guess its roots kind of go back to some of the BBC contests we did back in the day, where we had like the final voting at Brickfair, or actually I think Brickfest. We had some final votings at way back then. And so kind of started from, well, hey, if people are sending their contest entries, if they want to send other mocks, they can send those too. And then we just kind of opened it up it started being just for like the Virginia DC show. Send your mocks for that, and we'll display them, and at the end we'll send them back. And then as we started kind of doing more and more shows, as long as the logistics could work out, it made sense to just bring them more places, and it helps that with Brick Fair especially, with it being a DC Virginia show, means Todd, who runs it, is in this area, and I happen to live now in the DC area. So for like Brickfair Alabama, I can just kind of drive over to the Brickfair warehouse and drop off like 3 or 4 or 5 tubs of mocks and stuff, and then they just go on the semi truck from Pennsylvania down to Alabama, and I don't have to worry about shipping them or flying with them or anything like that.
Wow, that makes it way easier and
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
cheaper.
and then yeah, definitely works out that way. We lucked out. The reason we were able to make it to Brickworld Chicago this year is Dan, one of our reporters, active members who loves displaying and stuff. He's also a member of Penlug, who was bringing a display out to Brickworld Chicago, and they have a trailer that they brought out, and we were able to get some space in there, so we were able to hitch a ride or have our mocks hitch a ride on the Penlug trailer out to Chicago, which meant that I could fly out there, which made it a lot easier.
No kidding, that's fantastic. It's always great when a plan kind of comes together, even if it wasn't intentional. Yeah. It works out.
Yeah, it was kind of a last-minute thing that we figured out all the logistics on, but we made it, so it was great. And it was a great show. Definitely had a fun time. It was my first time in Chicago at all, so definitely hope to make it back out there in the future.
Yeah, no, I've heard a ton of fantastic things about Brickworld Chicago, and I understand that there's a little bit of a friendly rivalry between Brickworld and Brickfair, and which one's the larger one.
Yeah, I mean, Brickworld is definitely very large. I want to say, like, by square footage, I think Brickfair might have them beat, but they really pack that show full of mocks, and there's some amazing creations out there, and they have the exhibitor numbers to rival Brickfair Virginia. I think it kind of just depends year on year who happens to have more people register.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. A couple of quick things from the chat right now. Joshua Hanlon from Beyond the Brick has mentioned that there are some great Bionicle builds currently at Bricks by the Bay. So for anyone listening that may be there currently, check them out. And post some pictures on Twitter. Tag BZP, tag me. I want to see them. But we do have a few questions, and obviously I'll take this opportunity to mention, if you do have any questions, as we get closer to the end, we will open things up for the live YouTube chat. In the meantime, if you're over on Twitter, go ahead and ask your question there, and use the hashtag the Eljay Johnsen Show, at the Eljay Johnsen, Johnsen, and I'll go ahead and get to those closer toward the end. In the meantime, for anyone curious if there are any things to do at Brickfair, there is no shortage. The public days, I know that there are plenty of things to see. I actually am not sure what the activities are in the public days. I'm sure you have a better idea. I know you mentioned ring toss.
Yeah, for the public, there's a few activities that are kind of perennial favorites. So there's usually like some carnival games like ring toss. There's a go fish. There's bingo, of course. But there's actually going to be some new events this year at Virginia. A couple that have been done at some of the other Brick Fairs in the past. But there's going to be at least one that's new for Brick Fair this year. So I know starting in Brick Fair, New Jersey last year, Todd has started hosting a giant mosaic build for the public. So I want to say, Kevin can probably remember the details on how big it was since he helped set it up in Alabama. But I want to say it's something like, I don't know, like 20 by 30, 32 by 32, or actually no, 48 by 48 base plates. So it's this massive mosaic, and so it's kind of broken down to small, like 12 by 12 sections that each public member can build a section and then place it on the overall thing. So that's should be a lot of fun. And then we're gonna have a master builder on hand to do a build with the public as well. Dan Steininger, who was formerly a Lego employee, one of their master builders there. If you've ever seen pictures from like a Lego store opening or like a big Lego event where there's this guy in like this funny looking like robe-esque thing, very bright, vibrant colors, helping the kids put stuff together, that's usually Dan. So he's been doing that for years, and unfortunately no longer with the Lego group, but he still wants to do like what he knows, what he knows best, which is building these large displays and stuff. So he is teaming up with Brickfair and Colonial Lug, and they're going to be doing a big build during public hours. So you can definitely check that out if you're there. There's Brickfair, Virginia. Usually there's some Mindstorms games that are public, open to the public to watch. So like kind of a Robot Wars sumo thing. So that should be interesting too. So yeah, lots for the public to check out.
Perfect. Well, that's fantastic. I'm more accustomed to all the stuff that kind of goes on in the days prior. And as far as that is concerned, if you are an exhibitor, which means you can go online, register as an exhibitor. There are 3 days prior to the public days, which is often comprised of setup. However, there is no shortage of activities and fun things happening. This year especially is going to be absolutely phenomenal. They always have kind of a bingo grande toward the beginning. The opening ceremonies are always a bunch of fun. This year specifically, the aforementioned Master Builder is going to be doing a presentation, Building Your Imagination. And I believe, this was made public. If any of you are fans of the TV show and or Lego line, I'm not really sure which is which first. Galador, you should probably come to this event because the main star of Galador, Matthew Awald, who played Nick Bluetooth, he is also going to be at the event this year. And I believe he's going to have a segment where he kind of discusses the ins and outs of the show, his experiences, and kind of stuff along those lines where you can kind of go say hi and listen to what he has to say. In addition, though, there is also going to be a game that Andrew and I have been working on. And would you like to kind of elaborate, kind of give a few details as to what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, sure. It was really kind of funny because apparently we were both kind of planning this independently, and you got it on the schedule first, and then I saw it there. I'm like, oh, maybe I should just talk to LJ and we can do this together. So we're going to be hosting a Bionicle trivia competition at Brickfair, Virginia. I'm definitely excited for that. On our side, on the BZPower side, that kind of all started when Lego was kind enough to send us a pretty awesome prize. If you guys remember the last official Bionicle contest over on Rebrick, the Build the Makuta contest, one of the prizes for that, or the main prize, was a one copy of every Bionicle set from Gen 2. So from 2015 and 2016, one of each of those sets in a special package. It's pretty large. It's like almost 3 feet by 4 feet to hold all those sets. It's like a giant briefcase. And so Lego sent that to BZPower, and we're just kind of like, well, we don't want to ship it anywhere, so we're just going to give it to someone at Brickfair, Virginia. And we brainstormed a bunch of different things we wanted to do, and we decided trivia would be the best. And meanwhile, you had already kind of planned a trivia contest too, and so we're joining forces, and we're going to have that as an awesome grand prize.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about this because I had no idea that you guys were planning this, that you guys had that at all. Like, I know that Lego has sent you literal pallets full of construction, but I did not realize that you guys had another one of those. I was just talking with Kevin, the immaculate Kevin Hinkle, after an episode of Brickfeed, and he had talked about all the different opportunities to do public speaking, kind of seminars or games or whatnot at Brickfair that people don't often take up. And I was like, well, I love doing that stuff. That sounds like a blast. Let's do it. What can I do? What can I offer? Set reviews? No. Oh wait, trivia. I know a lot about Bionicle. It's practically useless in the outside world, but it's really helpful here, so I'll apply it. And we got it worked out, and then yeah, you contact me, and I'm super excited for this because I think it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you're a fan of Bionicle, this is a great way to kind of flex on your friends all your Bionicle knowledge and walk away with a couple of cool prizes. And if you're good enough, obviously the aforementioned grand prize. Now, Andrew, would you like to go ahead and delve into the specifics of how this game is going to work?
Sure. So there's going to be several rounds. We want to give people lots of opportunities to get some prizes. Obviously not everyone can be the grand prize winner, and so it's not just going to be about answering questions. You're also going to have a chance to ask some questions too. So we're going to start out with kind of a normal bar trivia kind of style. So everyone will be able to enter and participate. We're going to ask a series of questions to people, and then you're going to have an answer sheet to write down your answers, put your name on there, and then we're going to pick those all up and score them. And we're going to find the people who answered the most questions correctly, and they're going to be our finalists. But it's going to take us a little bit to check all those. So while we do that, we're going to have a little game, or yes, we're tentatively kind of calling it Stump Eljay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. All right, so while we're clarifying and checking and verifying all of these, verifying was the right word the first time, all of the answers, in the meantime, you will all have the opportunity to ask me a Bionicle trivia-related question, and if you can successfully stump me, if I cannot correctly answer your question about Bionicle trivia, you get a prize. We'll have plenty of prizes to kind of give away for that, so again, all you need to do, ask me a question about Bionicle. If I cannot get it correct, if I can't answer it properly, then you get a prize. And we'll have plenty of those actually there at the time. More details on that probably later.
Yeah, so once we've picked out the top few people from the first round, we'll bring them up to the front. We don't have a spot dedicated right now, or I'm assuming it's probably going to be in the bingo area. We'll bring them up to the front, and then it's just going to kind of be like an elimination round. So we're going to ask people, the first person a question, and if they get it right, they survive. If they don't, then they're eliminated. And so it's going to be kind of like the last person standing will get the prize. So I definitely want to start brushing up on your Bionicle trivia. Start finding that hard question to stump Eljay with. Probably don't want to go onto Biosector 01 for that, because I hear Eljay just kind of reads that to sleep every night. So you're not going to have any success there.
Yeah, no, they say that the brain is just a giant muscle, in which case my brain is ripped when it comes to Bionicle trivia. I am bench pressing on BS01 every single day. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's going to be a really fun time.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And so yeah, hopefully everyone, everyone who makes it there who's a Bionicle fan shows up. And, as we've said, there's going to be a bunch of prizes. Everyone who makes it to the final round will get a prize. And if you stump Eljay, you'll get one. We may have some other consolation prizes as well, just to make sure people don't go home empty-handed. Because, what's a Lego show without free Lego?
Of course. Yeah, that's half the fun entirely, is getting to go to the convention and walking away with something cool at no cost. It's always a good time. You always feel good. But yeah, no, I'll probably go ahead and cut this snippet and post it on Twitter so we can get that circulating. So if you're going to Brickfair, Virginia, if you're an exhibitor, of course, make sure to pay attention closely to the schedule. It is currently tentatively scheduled. If you're an exhibitor, you can already see it. Tentatively Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Subject to change as we get closer to the event. However, we'll keep you guys updated. How's your trivia? Do you retain any of the knowledge?
No, I would definitely not be a finalist in this competition.
Dang.
Dang. Yeah, no, I'd never made any claims to my Bionicle knowledge. There is a time period where while I was still like an active member of BZPower and stuff, I just wasn't as interested in the storyline. So most of the Metro Nui years are just kind of a mystery to me. I picked up the broad strokes over the years, but I was never really super paying attention to all that stuff with the Viscerock and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got back into it again with Voya Nui and paid a bit more attention from there onwards. But there are definitely large chunks missing in my Bionicle lore.
Mm-hmm. No, I get you. A lot of people end up kind of having that kind of around those years as well, which is fascinating to me because like I've always been very invested in both halves. Sets, story, they kind of just went hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And heck, even Brick by Brick goes into detail about how often a Bionicle set is sold every like few seconds in 2004. But I come across a lot of people who don't know a lot because they kind of dropped off and then came back 06, 07.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is interesting. I mean, it was still a very popular theme and everything, but I guess for me, I really loved like those first few years setting on Mat Nui and the island and like that whole like kind of mystical vibe, and Metro Nui didn't quite do it for me there. Plus, I was around the time where I was going into college and or finishing high school, going into college, so had a lot of other stuff on my plate. Didn't quite have the time for it, and I know. I think there's definitely a lot of people kind of in that similar vein, because as I've met people at conventions and stuff, there's a lot of kind of people in that same age range, like those old school fans all got into it around that same age. And I guess all kind of missed some chunks here and there thanks to college, but
yeah.
There are some people who are much more dedicated. I mean, there's some people in the community, like you and like Doric, some of the BSO1 guys,
mm-hmm.
Good old Bones, our former reference master, BZPower, is just like encyclopedic knowledge there too.
I gotta challenge him then.
I don't know if he's ever been to a show.
Huh. Well, maybe I should reach out. We'll have a sit-down conversation about which one of us has the more up-to-date encyclopedic knowledge.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I gotta get a little bit nervous though, because I know that Tooth Dominoes and Nick Voss from Lego, they're going to be at the convention, and I know that they are both from the community. They're both Bionicle fans, and I always get a little anxious having Lego employees ask about Bionicle trivia, because they probably know something that I don't from the back end, that I feel like I would know from like TV tropes or BSO1, and then they just like I don't know if you heard about this. All of the melded masks are unique.
Huh.
Well,
yeah, I'm not sure I'd ever heard that bit, so yeah, something new to me too.
Yeah, like the Poisoned How Nuva from 2003, how it had 3 or 4 variants. Apparently every melded mask has 3 or 4 variants because of the molding process, and that's kind of a consolidated explanation. But yeah, so it'll be a good time, and more updates will be on the horizon.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple Lego employees going to be there. There's actually, I think, going to be quite a few in either an official or unofficial capacity. And in addition to Nick and Neek, Corvin is going to be there, another BZPower member turned Lego designer. Somehow I want to say like we're one of the communities that probably had the most people become employees or designers for some reason.
Yeah,
definitely something that I take a little bit of pride in. And Corbin's been going to Brickfair, even though he's from Germany. He's been going to Brickfair maybe not quite since the beginning, but definitely since like 2010.
Wow.
He's been there like almost every year. So he's another hardcore Brickfair fan, hardcore Lego fan, and great Bionicle fan as well. And I'm sure he probably knows some things that might be able to stump you too. So watch out for those guys. Maybe we'll say Lego employees can't participate just to hedge your bets there.
I don't know. I'd feel a little bad because those are the challenges. Those are the ones I really want to stump and get the answers right. They're all going to be there. I really hope one of them, I'll have to suggest this to them, they need to bring the Journey to One Makuta model, because all three of them worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty cool if they could swing that.
Yeah, because I think Corvin brought it in 2016, right after the announcement, as we were all reeling from the second cancellation.
Yeah, he brought it there. That was a pretty awesome opportunity because people were able to get a lot of good pictures of it, so they could build it themselves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. And as far as Lego employees go, I know Kim Thompson will also be there from the Lego community team. So I think he's going to be hosting a talk about Lego community engagement and things like that. And it looks like, looking on the schedule, there's actually going to be another set designer there who's going to be in an official capacity. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I see.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name though.
Oh no, we could probably get away with the first name, but I'm not trying that last one.
Yeah, it's really cool that with Lego being such a multinational company, their designers come from like all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Just the three Bionicle fans who are there. Nick Voss is from New Zealand, and Corvin's from Germany, and Niek is, I want to say, from like the Netherlands or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know at Brickworld Chicago, there's a designer there, Kiara, and she was like born in, I want to say like Spain, but like grew up in Scotland, and then
goodness.
Lived in the U.S. for a while, kind of thing, and just like she did not have like an accent you could place at all. It was pretty ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, it's so. As a result, you have lots of interesting names among and the designers especially that are tricky to pronounce.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Thankfully, we do have some easy ones like Thompson. That's fairly got that. That works perfectly. I don't think I've actually met him. Like I've been in the same building as him. Like
yeah, I think he was there last year or the year before. So you were in the same room, and it's even SEN, just like you, Thompson and Johnson.
Yeah, you're right. Ha! I gotta get a picture with him then. That'd be fun. But on that point that you mentioned, BZPower has a high rate of members turned set designers. You guys are kind of like the Bionicle version of Ohio and astronauts. The state of Ohio has the highest rate of astronauts in the United States. And
is that because there's nothing else to do there other than like look up?
Yeah, what's in Ohio? It's like Idaho, but further that way. Oh goodness. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and answer some questions if you're down for that.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. We do have an email question. This is from Leo Zander, and I referenced this earlier. He asks, ask Black Six what his favorite memory, or one that stands out the most from BZPower's time at Brickfair.
Ooh, from BZPower's time at Brickfair. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of great things. I'd say probably the one that stands out the most is the BZ Tower. And I can't take like any credit for this at all. I think I'll blame Sumiki primarily because he is that kind of mischievous ringleader type.
Yeah.
And I remember one year, it's always awesome at Brickfair, Virginia, because there's always so many BZPower members and Bionicle fans who show up that it's like at some shows you're just kind of hanging out with like the same few Bionicle fans the whole time, which is great. But like at Brickfair, Virginia, there's just so many that you can like kind of hop from group to group and talk to different people and everything. And so at one point, like, a couple groups had split up, and our group of us had gone off to like dinner or something or to play a game, and we come back into the convention hall. And we, walk over to the Bionicle section, which is where we all gather. And in the Bionicle section, on one of the tables, is this giant, I don't know, I want to say like at least 4 foot tall tower made of Lego bricks. and written in bricks like along the side was BZPower vertically. And apparently a bunch of people had gone over into like the stay and play area where it's just kind of like loose bricks that you can build whatever you want with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they made this giant rainbow colored tower, just like on a whim, just like why not? Because we can, right? And it was there, I think, during most of the public hours, and we had a great time destroying it at the end of the show.
Oh no, I hadn't even factored that. Oh gosh, man, I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought you were referencing initially when you were talking about the tower and Samiki, like his tower of hats.
Oh yeah, the hat pile is always pretty good too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Are there any pictures of that online? Any BZ Tower?
Of the tower?
Yeah.
Yes, I was actually just searching for it. I will send you a link.
Awesome. All right,
There
in
you
that
go.
case, while you look for that, we do have a Twitter question. This is from Mr. 55 Productions, and they ask, what is your favorite part about going to LEGO fan conventions?
My favorite part is definitely hanging out with people. You know, I love kind of showing off mocks and stuff, but I'm not like the biggest builder by any means. You know, for me, it's always been kind of the community aspect is what I love, and trying to help enable the community. So that's why we do the convention circuit and everything. But I love getting to meet new fans and hanging out with old friends and everything. That was one of the reasons why it was really awesome to make it to Chicago this year, because I got to hang out with some people who I don't normally, or most of them I've never met before, and we had a great time hanging out, checking out some different builder styles and everything, and it was a lot of fun there. And pretty much any city you go to has got Bionicle fans in it. I got pretty much every show I've been to, even if it's only just one or two. There's always some people who like build Bionicle creations, and there's always something to talk about. What your favorite theme sets were, who your favorite characters are, and it's kind of the common thing we all share.
Yeah. No, that's a pretty stellar answer. I don't think that I could answer with anything better than that. It's fairly in line. It's always a joy to meet people, talk to friends, of course, maybe even people that you've known in the community but have never actually met or talked to. Like I don't think I've yet to have an actual conversation with him. I've been too starstruck to do so. Like I've helped record video with him in it, but Inner Rage is always someone that I've seen at a distance and gone, oh my goodness, he's so much more muscly in person, and he just seems so cool. One of these days, I'll do it. I'll say hi.
Yeah, Ray's pretty awesome. I'm not sure if he's going to be back in Virginia this year. I haven't talked to him in a month or two. I know last year he was there.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of turned his like real world business into something he can do at Lego shows with his caricatures and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really awesome. He's kind of taken his passion for art and his passion for Lego and brought them together.
Mm-hmm.
But I know from Oklahoma, Virginia is a big trip, so I'm not sure if he's making it out this year.
Well,
should definitely catch up with him.
hopefully he'll be okay. I'm sorry, that was an easy one. Okay, but yeah, no, that pretty much summarizes that. Also, for anyone wondering what the BZ Tower looks like, there it is. That is far bigger than I thought in my mind. Like I thought it was just a few bricks kind of stacked together really high, but that is massive.
Yeah, and you can see on the right there is a mosaic, and I believe that's like 232 by 32 base plates, so it's like 64 studs is that little mosaic on the right, so it kind of gives you an idea of how big that tower is.
Yeah, no, that is just huge. And then you have a little explode from Hero Factory off to the left, and rest in tiny, tiny pieces, HF. Oh, boy. All right, let me see here. We do have a few questions.
Yeah, see if you got some questions in the chat.
Yep. Let me see here. So I'll go ahead and ask this one first. This individual has been asking for a couple of times. I don't really have an answer, to be perfectly honest. I know that there are a ton of really great biotubers, but here's a question from Nether Eviepro Bricks Bionicle. I hope I got that right. And they ask, Black Six, who is the most underrated Bionicle YouTuber, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I have an answer either. There's a lot, like the way the community is spread out with like social media is just so amazing that it's impossible for me to keep up with it all. So I just kind of try to stick to my little corner and branch out where I can, but I honestly don't spend a huge amount of time checking out a lot of the great things that the BioTuber community does. I know that it's a pretty thriving community. And like wasn't until a little earlier this year that I kind of got involved at all in any of like the kind of YouTube community outside of some of the stuff we do and some other things like Beyond the Bricks and those guys. But at Philly Brickfest, Kevin introduced me to some of the other Lego YouTubing community, and that was really cool and kind of eye-opening. Just kind of how different but the same they are over there. Is like they've kind of built their own community up kind of outside of the construct of a lot of the rest of the community, but it's all the same shared passion for the brick. It was really cool to see. So keep making those videos, keep building awesome creations and things like that. And stuff like Instagram too is there's just so many awesome people over there sharing stuff in like the Biogram community, but it's just like there's so much of it that's impossible to keep up with it all.
Oh yeah. There is a heavy volume of wonderful creations always coming out of the community, and it always strikes me as a little perturbing and kind of befuddling when people say, the Bionicle community is dead. It's just dead. Well, it's very active. It's just spread out a little bit. They're constantly...
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of like a lot of the Lego community as a whole. It's just I could talk for days about the Lego community and how it's like grown and developed, so don't get me started there.
Fair enough. We'll have to leave that for another episode. All right. This next question is, of course, from Kevin A. Hinkle, and he asks, for Andrew, what's your favorite Lego Bionicle set, and what is your favorite non-Bionicle Lego set?
Man, the tough ones, Kevin. Well, for Bionicle, favorite Bionicle set, I'm going to be cheap and go with the original 2001 Tahoe. Obviously my first Bionicle set along with Vakama. So it's kind of hard to beat that. That said, like looking back at those old sets, they don't necessarily age well in some regards, and say what you will about G2, but I really loved the 2015 set designs for the Toa. Just what they did with CCBS and how they captured like a lot of that classic Bionicle feel, but with like modern sensibilities, like being able to have the action feature but still pose their arms and everything, like the things we wanted back in 2001. I remember people coming up with like little mods and stuff for their Toa so they could like turn their neck, or so you could lock the swinging arm in place so you could pose it and things like that. And now it's kind of all built in these days. And, they did a fantastic job with that. Completely
agreed. And your favorite non-Bionicle Lego set?
Favorite non-Bionicle set? Hang on, I have to look up to find its name real quick. It's funny, this is one of those things where like you don't learn about it until like years later, and then it's like, oh, that makes so much sense. So obviously for Bionicle fans, a lot of us have a big love for Christian Faber, who did a lot, his company did a lot of the design work for Bionicle, like a lot of the graphic design, the marketing and everything, a lot of the ads and stuff. And as Christian Faber has become like more and more active on social media, like he's got a YouTube channel and a blog and everything, sharing more stuff, I learned that one of the first themes that he ever worked on was actually one of my favorite like Lego themes of all time, Aquazone.
Really?
And that was like a theme that just like kind of really captured my imagination as a kid in like the the mid 90s, and like I was a Lego fan before that, but like Aquazone was one of those themes where like I had to like get every set I could, and so I'm gonna go with the Crystal Explorer sub from Aquazone 6175 if you want to look it up.
Yeah, like
As being like one of my favorite Lego sets of all time. And yeah, like just a lot of those sets, they had like this really cool aesthetic where they're like spaceships but like underwater. And I think they did a fantastic job with like a lot of the marketing for that. I remember like in the Lego magazines, they even had like a little bit of like story and world building with it, where like all of the different divers and stuff, like they gave them names in there. And so it was kind of like the almost like a precursor to some of the Bionicle stuff in a lot of ways there. So that's a set I have a lot of fond memories of, and that whole theme. So there's definitely a lot of great sets that I love, but that's probably one of the biggest.
Mm-hmm. I've got a picture of it on screen right now, so you can just go ahead and see it right there. That is, I did not realize it. In retrospect, it makes a lot of sense, because I remember watching one of Christian Faber's videos where he, it was a recent one, he brought out a little pamphlet, kind of like a book. He opens it up, and it shows this underwater scene, and he says, "This is the first piece of concept art I ever saw. You know, it's what inspired me to get into all of this." And now looking at this, it clicks. It makes a ton of sense. He was very inspired by this underwater theme, and so for him to work on this and for it to come out the way it did makes a ton of sense. It's fantastic. Oh man, now I learned. It's something new today.
Yeah, it's a good thing it's not a normal Lego trivia show, or else I would have stumped you.
Oh yeah, no, I would have been toast. All right, we have a few more questions here. This next one is from Bricks, and I feel this is a good question. Andrew, should I register my Diva from Overwatch with Mecha or Bionicle?
I think it could go in either. I could definitely fall in either one. I will say that Bionicle is shaping up to be pretty packed. So you might be a little better off going into Mecha. I'm just pulled up the Brickfair map to kind of get an idea of how much space they have, and because I know space and Mecha kind of tend to get a little lumped together, and also probably would help it stand out a little more as long as you stay away from the moon base in the space section. So yeah, I would say go for that, and I look forward to seeing it again. Bricks on Bricks was at Chicago. That was when we first met, and yeah, I wish you could bring the TIE Fighter, man, but definitely understand. For those of you who don't know, he built a Lego TIE Fighter that is to scale with the CCBS figures.
What?
So absolutely massive, but obviously things like that, pretty fragile and don't always travel well. But the Diva was great too, and some other fantastic creations. So I'm glad you're making the trip out to Virginia again.
I want to see that. Like I play Overwatch fairly regularly, and I would love to see some Overwatch mocks, especially seeing as we're getting some Lego Overwatch pretty soon here.
Yeah, I still have my fingers crossed that like they do some CCBS, some contraction stuff with that license. Like it seems like such a perfect fit, but I'm not getting my hopes up too high. But just maybe.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm not saying that a CCBS Genji or Reinhardt would be a really great idea and beautifully executed. I'm just heavily implying it. Do you play?
Right, I'm not saying that we're gonna try to get all the information we can out of the set designers who will be there at Brickfair, Virginia, but
now we're gonna hope that they don't hear this so that we can kind of come up on them. So, Lego Overwatch, am I right? Here's the NDA paper. Let's talk. Do you play any Overwatch? I know you play, or at least have played Halo to a degree.
I've only played once or twice. I haven't really gotten into it. Don't have near enough time to really dive into all the meta of Overwatch to like really get into it. But I love Blizzard games kind of on principle. Those were like some of the first games like I really got into back in the day. So they always do fantastic stuff with their art style and their gameplay. Everything is always so polished.
Oh yeah. If anything, Overwatch, I would say, balance changes with withholding. It's a very polished game. It's very fun to play. It's very nice. It looks beautiful.
And if this license means eventually we get some like Warcraft or StarCraft Lego sets, I won't complain about that either.
That would, I mean, I say my gut reaction, my knee-jerk reaction is to say, that'll never happen. But then I realize that might happen. Especially Warcraft with, Lord of the Rings, Overwatch, obviously enough. It's clear that Blizzard would work with Lego, and Lego isn't as opposed to making themes off of games.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say Diablo, but that would be something I would really love, but that's never going to happen. So we'll just forget about that.
Okay, that would stun me. At that point, all bets are off. Who knows what Lego might do? Heck, Call of Duty.
Yeah, that'd be a lot harder theme for them or game for them to adapt, I feel, anyway. But we have some complaints about this turning into a Blizzard live stream, so maybe we should get back on topic.
Fair enough. And thank you, Bricks on Bricks, for mentioning that you have some overview videos of your mocks on your channel. And the Beyond the Brick interview. I am definitely going to go check those out. Those sound awesome. Let me see. There are a few other questions here. One of them earlier was from Anthony Wynn, who asked, what are your thoughts on the Bio Cup? And I only have a very vague understanding of what it is, and by that I mean no understanding of what it is, outside of it's a competition. Do you know anything more about it?
Yeah, I've actually been involved a little bit in it this year. So it's kind of like a maybe like an Iron Chef kind of thing, but it's like it's round based. So there's the initial round where anyone can enter, and then the top, like I think like maybe 60% of people kind of go to the next round, and then people get paired up, and each pairing gets a theme to build in. And they kind of have to build a mock to kind of face off against one another, and it's just kind of like an elimination bracket until there's one builder standing.
Wow.
So this year has seen a fantastic turnout. I want to say it's like one of the biggest turnouts that they've had. Lots of amazing creations. If you have been checking out like any of the lots of the Bionicle postings on Flickr recently. If you see like a really crazy, awesome creation, it's probably a BioCup entry. I want to say the entry round was elements, so people had to build a mock that could fit anything, anyhow they wanted with elements, like a fire-based mock or water or whatever, however they wanted to interpret that. It was very broad to keep it nice and simple to enter. For the first round, they did Lego themes. So each pairing was assigned a different Lego theme that they had to build a mock from. So I know we had like it was as varied from like classic space to Lego elves. People had to build Bionicle mocks based on those themes. Some great creations there, and I think they're in the second round at this point. Should be going probably through well into August, and there's some great prizes. So one of the ways BZPower has been working with them is to donate some of those prizes. So that's how I've been involved mainly. Been helping out a tiny little bit with the judging. I've been helping to break some ties that have come up. They've been kind of calling on me as the backup judge when all else fails.
Well,
but yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, just some fantastic creations. I mean, some of the builders who post a lot on Flickr and stuff, and like some of those big names in the Bionicle community, the Chosen One and Jockson and them, just really kind of turning it up a notch with some awesome creations.
Wow, that is incredible. Because like I have been seeing some unbelievably stellar mocks that are from the BioCup. Like, usually the mockists will post saying, hey, this is from BioCup, this is what I made it for, and they're just spectacular. They're absolutely phenomenal. So that's a really great idea. Like, that's just a wonderful idea for a mocking competition, or just a way to get people involved in creating in general. And I figured that's actually a really good segue into this next question here from Hayden L. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up after this. What is, and he says LJ, but I'm going to ask you as well, because obviously you've kind of had a much larger involvement. What's the best way to get into the Bionicle community?
I mean, I think we kind of hinted, we've talked about it a little bit, that there's just so many different ways to get into it. And I guess it kind of depends on what you're looking for in the community. There's still message boards that you can talk about it on. There's BZPower, there's TTV, Eurobricks has a still pretty active Bionicle and buildable figure subforum over there. But social media in general has got a lot. There's Facebook groups, there's Discord channels and everything. So kind of depending on where you are and what you want to do, there's lots of options. I know on Facebook, I think mask posting is one of the bigger, more popular groups over there.
Oh yeah. Oh, they have 15,000 members last I heard.
Yeah, and Reddit, there's r/Bionicle over there. They're pretty active too, and there's just tons of different ways. We'd love to have you on BZPower, but we're not going to say that's like the only place, because it definitely isn't anymore.
Yeah, also,
and come to a convention, right? Can meet some people in person.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I would also definitely recommend, if you're interested in kind of, BZPower is a really great place to learn about Bionicle. Because obviously enough, you have BS01. However, and I'll often tweet this out, like, I kind of have to watch for what days, what stuff happened when, this day in Bionicle history 10 years ago or whatnot. And BZPower is pretty much the first place I go, because you guys thankfully have pretty much an intact log of all the news articles and all this historic stuff, like old reviews, old news articles about events that had happened. And it's a really good place to kind of look back and see all that has gone on before. And again, I can't emphasize enough BZPower's subculture and the running jokes and all the fascinating ways that people interact and create new and interesting things. And of course, the monthly giveaways are always cool.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with free stuff.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want my hand cut off for free. That would be cool. That'd be awful.
All right, fine.
Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything, unless there's anything else you'd like to mention.
No, I think we covered a lot. Brickfair is shaping up to be awesome. We talked about the trivia contest we're doing. We're going to have the Galador star there. We're going to have a few Lego set designers. There's some other special guests who are going to be there. David Pagano, who does a lot of awesome brick films. Jim Folds and Megan Rothrock are going to be there. You may not be familiar with their names, but Jim is a former Lego community manager, and he's kind of going on to do some more Lego-related projects. And I think they may be talking about those some more at Virginia, so that's going to be really cool. And it's without a doubt, like, almost always the largest gathering of Bionicle fans in the world, probably every year. So
easily,
definitely going to be awesome. So keep your eyes peeled on like social media and stuff while that's going on. If you can't make it in person, to check out all the awesome creations and some of the fun antics that people are sure to get up to.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm sure between BZPower and everyone going there, we're gonna have no shortage of excellent coverage and imagery, and it's gonna be fantastic. I know Beyond the Brick is gonna be there, of course, and they always do a wonderful job covering conventions. So make sure to follow them closely. And of course, BZPower. And I guess that actually leads in to the final question. And that is, where would you like people to follow you on social media?
So BZPower's got I think most of the normal social media things. So we've got we're at BZP Book on Facebook, BZP Tweets on Twitter, BZP Gram on Instagram. Um, let's see where else we got our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BZPower, and then of course BZPower.com. You can follow me personally at @Black6 on Twitter. That's usually where I'm the most active. Even then, I generally focus on doing the Lego stuff through the BZ Power channel. So follow us there, and that's you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of that.
Perfect. All of those will be linked in the description below. I highly recommend checking all of those out, especially if you're a Bionicle fan. There is no shortage of things to do and things to learn. All right, well, Andrew, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, and I look so forward to the first week in August. It is going to be a blast.
Yeah, without fail. I mean, it's always fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, well, and thank all of you for listening, be it live or the recorded version, which I swear it's going to be up either tonight or before Tuesday. Mark my words on a calendar. There's no point to doing that. But regardless, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure to head on over to Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen, messed it up every week, JOHNSEN, for not only a good time, but guest announcements every Tuesday and updates, be they applicable. And if, darn it, that's twice, nuts. If you have any questions over the week, make sure to email them at ljjohnson@gmail.com. You can probably see the spellings on those right on the screen. And again, thank you all so very much for listening. Have a wonderful day.